Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the February 12th, 2025 meeting of the Dudley Planning Board. At this time, I'd like to remind everybody that the meeting is being recorded and ask everyone to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first item on the agenda, approval of the minutes for January 8th, 2025. Has everybody had a chance to look over the meeting minutes for 2025, for January 8th?
Make a motion to approve the minutes?
Okay, we have a motion to approve minutes. We have a second. All those in favor? Aye.
I'd like, Mr. Chairman, to commend Laura in terms of the minutes. She's done an outstanding job.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so David made the motion,
And
Richard seconded.
Okay, thank you for that.
All right, next item on the agenda, Master Plan Steering Committee Volunteer Public Notice. Is there anything on that? I don't think we have anything on that.
No,
do we?
you just requested to keep it on the agenda as we move
okay,
forward in
yeah.
case there was any
So in
discussion.
case we get anybody coming in that just wants to throw their hat in the ring.
Mr. Chairman, were you going to take up the commercial kitchen before you move too much farther?
Yeah, sure. So, okay, I see it isn't on this agenda. I thought maybe you had reprinted a new
No.
agenda. That's why I didn't say it.
No.
Okay, right. So, got this. Okay, so just to give a quick update on what this is and why this is kind of a last minute thing. This is something that Aura had actually approached me about, and I thought it would be better to ask these folks to come in and give us a talk about what they want to do so we can try and make a determination of if we even need to take any action as the planning board. And rather than delay them a whole month, since we only meet once a month, I thought we'd just kind of sneak it in. So hopefully nobody's got a problem with that. I think it's not a big deal. So let's just, without further ado, at this time, I would like to invite, I apologize, what is your name?
Akila.
Akila?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to invite Akila up to the microphone and just ask her to kind of give us an idea of what it is she exactly wants to do with this kitchen in a garage situation. So if you could just give us your full name and your address for the record, and then we'll go from there.
All right. It's Akila Bowers Burgos. It's 215 West Main Street in Dudley, Mass. 01571. So the objective here is to have a commercial kitchen built out of my garage. As of right now, I do have a residential kitchen's license, and I do sell pasta, breads, everything that's not TSC, time controlled or temperature controlled. So I actually make juice at home for my family and friends, but now a lot of people have been asking me, hey, why don't you go out and sell your juices? I can't do that unless I do it and operate out of either a shared or commissary kitchen or just build one of my own.
Okay.
I spoke with Patrick and Nelson. They said it's perfectly fine. I'm zoned for it. Patrick said he has no issues with it as long as I have the labels correct. Not only would I be doing the juice, but also couture boards.
Charcuterie.
Yes.
I thought that was a typo because I had no idea what that was.
Yeah, so I would like to be doing those boards as well, and it's just basically fruits and sandwich meats or deli meat, and that's also temperature control. So with my background, I am actually a microbiologist. I worked for Commonwealth of Massachusetts in the unemployment department, and now after COVID, I said, I'm done with the 40 hours. I'd rather try to do something for myself. So that's the goal. The goal is to have a commercial kitchen where I can go ahead and sell my juice. And it's all consumer based. It's not like it's a wholesale deal. It's all consumer. I already have like a little shed. So I'm gonna do that in my driveway, sell my fruits, sell my juice and my bread. So if you guys are wondering, hey, I don't want all this traffic building up. No, it's scheduled based. So all my customers are all scheduled based, or I would deliver it. It's free delivery in Webster and in Dudley. So do you guys have any questions?
So my Go ahead,
Well,
Richard.
just
No, Chair defers
A
to.
question, I think you addressed it in part in terms of how people are going to be receiving these products from you, but how is your driveway situated? Would people be backing out
Nope,
into?
they have the capability of actually pulling in and making a turn and driving back out.
All right, it was my concern that the backing out into West Main would be like
Yeah, that's not
endangering
ideal.
at least. And have you all satisfied any requirements as far as permits with the Board of Health are
Yeah,
concerned?
I have everything that I need. So because I already have my residential kitchen, it kind of overlaps for the commercial. The only thing that I may need would be a wholesale license or permit for the commercial, but I didn't want to dabble into that until I get approval that I can actually do it. I don't want to waste time and money, so.
Well, thank you.
So I just wanted to clarify, pretty sure we have a pretty good gist of what you're doing there, but to clarify, there is going to be no food consumed on site, correct?
What do you, like,
In other words, you're going to make the stuff there, people
Oh.
are going to come on appointment to pick it up.
Yeah.
They're going to take it home.
yeah, of course.
You're not going to have like picnic tables out there with
It's
people.
my house.
Okay, all right, no, I have to ask.
Yeah.
Because I want to make it clear for the record.
Right,
That it's, essentially, it's like a mini manufacturing type of situation
That is
more than
correct, yeah.
anything related to, it's not really a restaurant type of situation.
that is correct. It's not a restaurant. It's you pick up and leave, because it is my house.
Okay, all right.
Unless you're family and friend and we're having a cookout, then that's a different thing, you know.
So, do any of the other board members have any other questions they want to ask at this time?
Seems pretty cut and dry to me. I don't have any questions now.
Okay.
I think I would say it falls under, in my opinion, it would fall under like cottage industries, so,
Right,
and that's permissible anyways in town.
exactly, so that's the point I was gonna get to, and the reason why I wanted her to come in and tell us exactly what was going on, because without knowing exactly what was going on, it was kinda hard to figure out where this would fall. And even with that description, we don't have an exact thing in our usage table for that, so it falls into a couple of possible areas here. My gut feeling at this point, and I've been in communication with Nelson Burlingame, his opinion also is that we could easily consider this almost like a home-based business, that it would fall under permissible use because she's already zoned business 15 over there. It actually overlaps, I think, in that area with industrial 43. It's kind of a weird thing there. So I don't think we need to have her come in and formally request a special permit or site plan review or anything like that. But I just thought we should have something on the record with the planning board. If we all agree to that, we just put it on the record and we say, okay, this is why we didn't ask her to go through that process. This way, in the future, let's say this takes off and you become world famous.
Or you could be the second Dippin'
Yes,
Donuts.
who knows, right? And all of a sudden, there's like a situation where you find, well, I've got to expand, and it turns into, a miniature factory there. And you never know.
Right, yeah,
Then things would change.
right,
And obviously, then we would have to revisit a site plan review or something like that.
yeah, absolutely.
But the chair would entertain, if somebody wants to make a motion, I guess we could word it, how we would word that.
Well, there's really no action that we need to take, is what we're trying to
Yeah,
say.
we would say, basically,
Just
the
a sense
planning
of the
board would say
board's-
that planning board feels that this particular situation she has does not merit any action by the planning board at this time.
Okay, I can make a motion that, based on everything we've heard, this is, based on what Nelson said, building inspector, as well as our chairman here, has done some research. This is obviously an approved, permitted use, and therefore I don't see any action that the planning board needs to take, other than to say, good luck.
Second.
Best luck to
Second
you.
is in order.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
We wish you well, and we're always open to
Good luck.
You guys
sampling.
can order. You guys can make an order.
I already did.
You did? Nice. I'm glad.
You should
Thank
go
you.
before the selectmen. They've, in the past, tried to have new businesses in the community introduce themselves and get a kind of a spotlight, if you will,
Wow,
during their
that'd be
meetings.
really nice, yeah.
And they're probably agreeable to sampling as well.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Thank
You
you.
could do cookies or bagels, yeah, that's
I
easy.
think there's a Deb LaPlaca also does a newsletter for the town.
Really?
Yeah, so maybe we can,
Yeah, that'd be
contact
nice.
with her.
That'd be really nice. I do have like a little stand in Webster on Point, so if you guys ever travel in Webster, head on down to On Point and have a cookie and some coffee or whatever.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Thank you.
So is
Thank
there
you.
any other things that I would need to do, or would I just have to go to,
As far as we're concerned, nothing with us.
right?
Uh,
So would
you
it
know,
just
if
be?
you've got your permits in place,
Yeah.
I'll just double check with,
Patrick and?
yeah, I would say with the Board of Health, that's the.
Yeah.
We could put a letter together on your letterhead discussing the motion and the second, and that it was unanimous that
Yeah.
she didn't need anything, and at least she can
Exactly.
have the letter.
That
Oh,
sounds
that's
good.
so- Thank you, yeah, thank you, that would really be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you-
all right.
The only thing I was gonna ask, did you take out a business, did you get a business license from
Yeah.
the town clerk?
DBA, yeah, so I'm doing business as Simply Baking.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Because you, as you said, you were already doing this in your kitchen, in your house.
Yes, I already have the permits, I have everything that I need.
Okay.
Now I'm just trying to do a little bit more, you know, so.
Scaling it up.
Yeah, scaling, just a tiny bit, but yes.
Great.
I don't think I have any more questions, do you guys have anything else?
No, we're good.
No? All right, well,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Have a nice night.
You too, have a good one.
Laura, Dan made the motion, Richard
Yeah, and
seconded it.
Richard seconded it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And we did the minutes already?
Okay, back to,
Chairman, we should pass the
Did you
minutes around
sign?
for signatures?
Yeah, sign the minutes.
Oh, the
Got
minutes.
the minute folder right there? Right here?
You got copies already, son? Okay.
so efficient, I'm not used to this efficiency.
Yeah. Well, you're at the top, so you can sign first.
Oh, I got my pen in my pocket there.
You got a
Richard.
pen in
Thanks.
front of you too, if you don't
I
put
know,
your
I lost
special.
my pen.
We all have our
Each his own.
special pens.
Each his own.
No.
Oh,
you're-
that's
you're
great.
Richard.
You like the pen, but it doesn't
Sign
like
right on there,
you.
Steve. Not
No, I
Richard's.
was signing right here.
No, you were down one.
No, I was right here.
Okay.
We got a camera angle that shows this?
Behind schedule by about at least a minute and a half, guys.
Oh, okay.
Pick it up.
All right, while the meeting minutes are going around, the next item on the agenda under new business is the A&R checklist update, so I'm gonna just start talking about what ended up happening with that, so. As many of you know, I ended up communicating with town council, gave them a bunch of questions about our A&R checklist, and lawyers can be interesting, to say the least. They don't like to be put on the spot to give like definitive. They like to speak in gray areas. So what it ended up being was more a conversation about what we have on our checklist that is easily defensible if somebody wanted to challenge it in court, and what we would, and in her exact words, that could be difficult, I think was how she said it. And the one that sticks out is the one that we talked about in the beginning, the taxes, the property tax.
Thank you.
So, I think it would be in order for us to remove that requirement from our A&R checklist. There's also the way that things are worded on the A&R checklist and the other form that gets filed, it's kind of, there's some ambiguity. I'm having trouble speaking tonight. Anyways, it's not clear as to the whole process, and I think we already discussed this, about when does that clock start ticking? You know, because of the way that it's worded on the checklist. It says, let's see, Dudley Planning Board has received the submission of an A&R plan. This document certifies that, as currently submitted, the approval not required plan meets the minimum submission guidelines as set forth by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the town of Dudley. Regulations governing subdivision of land. This document certifies that the A&R plan is officially submitted for planning board review and consideration. It does not constitute acceptance of an A&R plan. The problem with this reading the way it does is down at the bottom here, this doesn't take effect until it's signed, but there's a place for the town clerk to sign it. And the argument that some applicants have made is that if they bring in their submission and they're unable to reach anybody in the planning department, which is quite possible because we're not full-time, we're not fully staffed, they feel that according to state law, they should be able to go to the town clerk and have the town clerk sign off on this and start the 21-day clock. And the problem with that, obviously, is if we had just had a meeting and they came in on a Thursday after our meeting and they said, hey, sign this, and the clerk signed it, then the 21 days start and we're left with a situation where we don't have much time at all to actually prepare. Kind of gets dumped on our lap. And I think we talked about, well, the way it works right now is really they could just do that now if they want to. They could actually bring us nothing and dump it on our lap. The other form that you fill out when you do an A&R is the Form A. And the Form A, I think the Form A is the one that says, at the top it says instructions. Your complete A&R submission shall include, goes on, says the A&R checklist, Form A, blah, 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 blah. Top portion to be completed, your original reproducible Mylar, 5 prints, digital copy, all of that. A digital copy emailed to the planning office prior to the meeting and a check for the submission fee. Submit your complete package to the planning board office by the Friday prior to the Wednesday meeting at which the A&R will be presented. So this form makes it sound like we're insisting that they submit it prior, Friday prior to the meeting. So this form almost is saying, bring it in early, but that form is almost like saying, bring it in early, but we're not considering it submitted.
But that form also says at line 3 that you have to submit it during a regularly scheduled planning board meeting.
The plan shall be submitted by delivery at a regularly scheduled meeting of the planning board. And then there's a place for the date,
Yep.
okay? This is supposed to be filled in by the applicant according to this document. So the applicant's gonna put in, they're gonna find out when the next planning board meeting is, and they're supposed to put this in. So if they do that, when does the clock start?
When they submit it at a regularly scheduled planning board meeting. I think what you read previously on the Form A is if you want to give electronic copies, they would ask that you give it in advance. You don't have to give an electronic copy.
So that's what I think, this language is what I have a problem with then. Submit your complete package to the planning board office by the Friday prior to the Wednesday meeting. I think it should be worded that we invite them to do it, but we're not demanding.
Yep.
Right. So my suggestion is we tweak this language and we remove item 4, property taxes paid.
Just real quick, my understanding of the process is, in order for it to be on the agenda, it has to be, the planner has to be made aware of it in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
Or else it's not on the agenda.
Right.
So if they come in to the planning board without talking to anybody with an A&R, we in theory can't accept it because it's not on the agenda, right?
Well, that's where it gets, that's
So
another
that-
problem.
So that's why so the language to me is how I understand it, being a little familiar with the process, is we would like you to give it to the planner the latest on the Friday before a meeting, so we can get you on the agenda, distribute the materials, but it's not gonna be formally accepted until the planning board can see it. We have to act on it.
So
That means we have to see it, and once we see it, the clock starts.
So what we should have is we should have language saying that we want to see it ahead of time, by
In
the
order to
Friday
be-
before, so it can be placed on the agenda, but it should stipulate that formal acceptance
Is-
does not occur until
It's presented to the planning.
it's presented to the planning board
Correct.
at their meeting.
So you're missing the phrase about to get it on the agenda, basically.
Right,
Yep.
right. So we'll play around with the language, get it approved by town council, and then we'll change it. So that brings me to the next point. Initially, town council thought that we could just make these changes without going to town meeting. But I mentioned that the problem is that these two forms, Form A and the A&R checklist, they're actually in an appendix of the subdivision regs. Yeah, so
So we could change that here, though, in this meeting.
I think we-
Subdivision regs, right?
Right.
Yeah,
yeah, but we would have to have a public hearing.
yeah, that's fine.
We can't change the subdivision regs without a public hearing. I know we're not technically changing the language in the regs themselves, but because of the fact that this is in an appendix of the regs, and it's referenced in the regulations.
Yeah, I'm not an attorney, so I don't know, but I thought that all it took was a vote of the planning board, whether it's a vote of the planning board at a public hearing or just a vote of the planning board after a public hearing, I'm not 100% sure, but I think you can change your rules and regs anytime. But whether you need a public hearing or not, I don't remember.
Yeah, so my understanding was,
I don't know why you would.
chances are nobody's gonna show up.
Well, that's in all likelihood, it would be a formality only.
Would you like me to just put in like a quick?
Well, I'm gonna get clarification.
Okay.
I'll get clarification when I
Okay.
come up with, a
The change,
draft.
yeah,
Town council should be able to advise us how to do it.
Exactly.
Right.
okay.
Exactly, so.
Then as far as the taxes are concerned, I wouldn't take that out to someone, until someone has a complaint.
Well, that's basically what she said was, we could put anything we want here. We could put in that, we want them to come in dressed as Big Bird for every application.
Right.
And they could say, that's ridiculous, there's no way that's legal, and we could say, well, too bad, sue us. And nobody is gonna,
No, well, I personally think that if you haven't paid your property taxes in 3 years and you want a building permit or some other gratuity from the town,
right.
no. Pay your taxes first.
That's not on camera.
It doesn't matter, just pay your taxes first. I mean, that's what this is all about. So I think it should be left in there.
I
If someone has a
understand,
problem with it, let them
on
talk to us.
principle,
Yeah.
that makes sense. The problem is, Dan, that brought us to this whole discussion in the first place is that it directly conflicts state law regarding A&Rs. A&R law is very specific. It gives us very little to go by as far as being, by design, it's supposed to not be a way for us to easily stop development. So
If I want to sell my piece of property,
yeah,
do the taxes have to be paid on it before I can sell it?
yes.
I rest my case. It's the same thing here.
So then I rest my case because I already made the point. This is not even necessary. You can't pull a building permit unless your taxes are paid. So if they come in and they do an A&R and they say, all right, now I'm gonna build a house, they go to get a building permit, can't get a building permit until the taxes are paid.
That makes a bit more sense.
So it's covered there.
Covered there.
And if they say, okay, I'm just gonna sell the lot, it won't clear title.
More clear title.
If there's back
So
taxes owed.
downstream, we're protected downstream, basically.
Yeah,
That makes
if
more
back
sense.
taxes are owed, like, say you wanna sell your house, and you haven't paid your taxes yet, and they're due,
Yep.
what'll happen is, if you don't pay those taxes in time, at closing, that money will come out.
Yep.
That has to be satisfied.
Okay.
They have to get a municipal lien certificate? Yeah,
Yeah, if we're covered downstream, then I'm fine with it.
okay. So we'll still go with axing that one thing, tidying up the language, and then seeing if town council likes it and gives us a clear way to proceed to
Yep.
do it.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
so that takes care of that. All right, back to the agenda. Town planner vacancy update. Okay, so, town planner vacancy update. So we actually received an application from somebody for town planner. The problem is, as you know, we entered into this agreement where we're gonna have a joint, we're gonna share a town planner between the town of Spencer and the town of Dudley. So, the assistant town administrator reached out to the Spencer town administrator and said, hey, we've got an applicant, sent over the information. For whatever reason, town administrator in Spencer said, we're not interested in pursuing this individual for this position. So if you want to move forward, go ahead, but you'll be doing it on your own. The problem with that, right off the bat, is this individual is looking for a full-time position, so we would only be able to offer a part-time position. We haven't approached that individual and explained the situation yet. So we don't even know whether or not they're a viable applicant any longer. So we can approach them, see if they're interested in a part-time thing. However, in looking at their resume, they have been at 3 town planner positions in like a very short period of time. So there's a concern I have there as to whether or not they would stay even if we did bring them in. The other thing, I had heard about a town planner who was retiring or getting ready to retire. And so I reached out to them and said, hey, did you think about maybe wanting to do some part-time planning work after you retire? And they explained to me that they would be interested in that, but the problem is they have like a year left on their contract. So we'd be without them for a year. They said, feel free to reach out to me if you're still looking for somebody in a year when I retire. So they're not a viable option right now, but they might be in another year. But that person told me about an organization, she said, that there is a group that they have a website. So I want you guys to check this website out. It's called Planners in a Pinch. So if you Google Planners in a Pinch, and it's a Massachusetts-based company, and what they do is they offer not just town planners, but they offer all types of assistance for interim assistance for municipalities. So apparently what it is it's a group of professionals that you can, I haven't looked into it far enough yet to figure out exactly how it works. I don't know whether or not they have people that you can just have come on as a consult, because I was thinking about it, and the reality is, when we really need a town planner is like when we have a special permit that gets kind of dicey, or, you know,
Or any application that's,
yeah, in question.
Yeah.
Right. It's gotta be cheaper, to pay a consultant than it is to pay a town council.
there's no benefit, if there's no benefits involved, I'm assuming that
Right.
it's basically a consultant basis, but it could be $200-300 an hour versus $60 or $70 an hour for a town planner.
So I told the assistant town administrator about this website and everything, and she said, you know, find out if the planning board wants to pursue this. So she basically wanted me to bring it to you guys and say, what do you guys think? Well, if you want, we can wait until the next meeting. That'll give you some time to
Look at it.
check it out. Or if you want, you could just tell me now that you want me to have it, because I mean, there's no harm in having her look into it, right?
Well, I mean, the question has to be, do we need a town planner? And if the answer is yes, and we're not
Yes.
getting applicants, then we need to investigate all avenues,
Right.
regardless of what that is.
I agree.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I've seen in various emails suggestions that we reach out and use monster.com, and there were a couple, I think there were a couple of other sites. Do you know if those have been utilized? I had a suggestion on my own, suggesting we approach the placement office at Clark University, because most of these people, if you dig their resumes up, Clark University's in there somewhere.
I put that in an email and there was no response,
No
so I'm not
response.
sure if it's.
That's the same response
I'm
I've
not sure
got.
if there's a cost involved.
I
Does
think
anybody
there
know
is.
how that works?
I think there's quite a large
Yeah, the
expense,
employer,
yeah.
the employer who is looking for somebody has to pay Monster to put that ad up, and that's
We've
probably.
used Indeed.
Right.
We've used Indeed in the past, too. That's how we got
To
Patrick.
Clark
Aaron.
University?
No, Monster does.
Right, but I mean, I've got no response in terms of that suggestion.
I don't know.
I
Who's in
just
charge of
send them the
search
resume
committee?
and say, it's HR is the TA's office.
Personnel board.
Let them do what they need to do.
So, does,
Make a motion that we have Olivia look into it.
okay, look into the, planners in a pinch option.
Well,
I
would
have,
ask
I have
them
a
maybe
problem why even the question's coming back to us. If the task is to find us a planner, do it. Well, I mean, why ask us every single question? Just do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Use a
It's an
personnel
option.
board. That's the
Well,
problem.
that's what they do.
We have a motion on the floor.
I'll second it.
Okay, David made the motion, was seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I would also like to bring up the fact that we do have money in our budget for a planner. I don't
Right.
think it's been taken away.
Not
And
yet.
Yet, we don't have.
Do we have control of that?
Well, it's in the
It's in the
budget, it's
budget,
there.
it's a budget item.
And
You
it's
have
not-
about, what, 24,000 left?
Disappear quickly, because they need to pay for invoices, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Done that in the
The one
past.
thing that I was gonna say is like, in the past, when people have filled in for things on an interim basis, you know, even if they don't have the qualifications for the job, but they're doing some of the work.
Mhm.
I mean, Aura's doing basically the work of the clerk and the town planner because there's nobody else here. Why not increase her salary while she's doing this, because it's more work for her? I mean,
Well, Orr and I have discussed this, and Orr's got a problem, she can't go over 23 hours a week, right? That's,
Benefits.
yeah, right.
right, but she could get paid more for the hours that
Right.
she's here.
Right.
I mean, I remember when Mr. Whitney was here and he was interim town planner, or, you know, whatever, there was a vacancy, he just jumped in and filled it, and he would get more money for his time.
Okay.
So it's not like it hasn't been done in the past.
Is that an emotion?
I'll make a motion that we increase the planning board clerk's salary while she's working without a planner, because she's doing more work.
Do we want to have a discussion?
A number with regards to the increase, I mean. is
Because
that
any money
something
that comes out of that is less money we have for an actual planner if we get one.
Well,
Right, but we've been without a planner for how many months? And that money wasn't spent.
Yeah, 3 months.
Yeah.
I
November,
think Mr.
December,
Horn
3
is
or 4
trying to
months.
recognize where the work is being done.
Correct.
And should be compensation accordingly.
I agree.
And I would be happy to second that motion, and I think at some point it has to be referred back to HR in terms of the town planners.
Yeah, I don't even begin to know how that works.
I mean, if we have a 3-month surplus that we didn't pay a town planner,
All right.
let's take that money and split it up and give it to Aura for the,
All of it?
give it to her. Give it to her until we do have a town planner. You know?
She's not on our budget though, that's the only problem.
She's shared.
She's on town administrator's budget, I think, or selectman maybe.
For the, the 2 positions that I hold, planning and,
So
and
that might get
I don't
a little
understand that, but
So
that's how it works.
her time doesn't come out of our budget at all?
It's under some line item out of the town administrator's office.
She's not even just our clerk. She's conservation
Well,
and.
can we rephrase the motion and make a suggestion to the town administrator that Aura's compensation be subject to review based on the additional responsibilities that she's taken on?
We can do it, but I got a feeling I can already tell you what they're gonna say. to
Well,
that.
let them go on record as not
Right.
approving it then.
Yeah. Yeah, you said it much more eloquently than I could have, so.
No, I just used more words.
He's married to an English teacher.
All right. Is there a second? We need a second.
I'll second the second motion.
Okay.
These minutes are gonna be fun.
This will be interesting.
Yeah. Do you want to clean that up as far as the wording goes?
We would ask the town administrator to review Aura's compensation in light of the
Considering-
additional responsibilities that she has assumed in the absence of a full-time town planner,
Or a part-time.
part-time, or a town planner, period.
Period, yeah.
Okay. Dan, can I get you to second that?
I will.
Third time?
Second the second motion a second time.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
So not that I want to drag this conversation on much longer, but we had a intern planner from the CMR, whatever.
Oh,
Why
yes.
don't we have another one from them?
Because they lost 2 of their planners.
So
They had 2 planners leave CMRPC, and they made it clear to us, don't come looking to us for help, because we don't have enough town planners to go around.
Yeah.
That's still the case though? When's the last time we've talked to them?
That was 2 months ago.
Yeah, so things could have changed by now.
Actually, not even 2 months ago. That was because technically, I know she left sooner, but technically her last day was January 1st, I think.
I haven't seen anything. They're usually pretty good when they do hire somebody to letting the world know that they've taken a new position on. I haven't seen anything from them indicating that they have any additions, recent additions anyway. But
Okay, well, anything else, Dan, or?
I think we're good.
Okay, all right, great. All right, so, let's see, that was town planner vacancy update. Next item, Oh, we received a letter, resignation of our recently appointed alternate planning board member, Bill LePage. For those of you who aren't aware, apparently the original plan to have our former highway superintendent, Mr. Murray, take over as assistant building inspector, for whatever reason, he's not gonna be able to do that. So, the town administrator decided to tap Mr. LePage, who's currently the building inspector for the town of Sturbridge, to be the alternate for our building inspector for the town of Dudley. And because of that, Mr. LePage felt that it wouldn't be a good idea for him to be on, planning board. And I think he also is, I think he was gonna consider zoning board, I guess, same situation there.
Mr. Chairman, do we need a motion to accept the resignation? Or is that formality?
Yeah, I think we usually do, usually, unless you get a reason not to, you say, accept with regrets, we accept the resignation of.
Do we accept Josefa's resignation?
He was never appointed, I mean, he was never sworn in, right?
No, he
No,
was not.
just
It was
doing-
not sworn in?
No.
Oh.
Well, we can
so
still
never-
accept the
never
letter.
had-
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, for what it's worth, then I would ask that we, or make a motion that we accept with regret the resignation of our alternate planning board member, William LePage.
Okay, we have a motion,
No second.
all right. All those in favor?
I would make another motion, or second motion, that we appoint or ask Mr. Thomas Chinaki if he would be interested in taking on the position of alternate planning board member.
All right, so we wanna, should we reach out to him just to make sure he still wants it?
No, he still wants it.
He still wants it, Okay.
Motion made, second, I'll second it.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
4-1.
All right. So,
I would make a recommendation that maybe, I mean, Tom actually dedicated, we've been on the board before, but maybe the next time we get an alternate, we get a contract signed. Penalties for early withdrawal.
yeah,
You're in.
we'll take away that big salary we all get.
There you go.
Mm.
They just voted at town meeting to increase the amount of Board of Health members
Yeah.
to 5, and somebody actually got up and was concerned about how much it was gonna cost the town, because they didn't realize that, we have volunteer boards and,
They were on that, what's that stipend that they get, that the selectmen get? They were gonna get one of those in that big budget year. They were on the
Really?
budget for that, yeah. That was one of the main things that they were going for.
where's our
Like
stipend?
$500
Board of Health is gonna get a stipend?
We used to get one,
So they're-
I can remember 1 or 2 years we had a stipend.
Mhm.
Everyone had one, even the assessors.
What'd you
had one.
spend all that big money on?
$500, I think I bought a barbecue grill.
Oh, snow blower.
How long ago was that?
A long time ago.
A long time ago. Well, that's when 500 was
I'm going on
500.
I'm going on 25 years here.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
All right, so, next item, we're into standard business. Pierpont Estates, there's nothing new there. Okay, Country View Estates, Eisenhower Drive, nothing new there, although, well, I'll bring it up when we get to board members' comments.
Well, you mentioned that they only have the binder course down at that water board meeting. I thought they had the full coat thing. I thought they had that second coat, don't they?
They do, they do. It's falling apart, but they have it, right?
Where, Eisenhower?
Oh.
No, I'm talking about Eisenhower.
Eisenhower, not, I'm thinking of, the
Rocky
one-
Hill.
No, I'm thinking of, the one by the church, I can't remember, that's Country View.
Country View.
That's
Oh.
That's not Country View. it's
Country Club.
Country Club, yeah.
Yeah, Legacy
It's
Landing.
just country, it's got me going.
Yeah, that was confusing.
That one's falling apart?
No.
No,
Okay.
not yet.
All right. So anyways, Lions Estates. So, did you guys get a chance to see the email that I had I had Aura send out?
Asking
Yeah.
for Mr. Revane to show up or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So that's where we stand. We sent him a letter.
No
We didn't hear back from him.
When was that letter?
He's obviously not here.
January 14th,
14th?
Yeah.
So,
2 weeks ago?
A month ago now.
It's Mr. Haney.
so I looked, no. Mr. Haney was the original owner of that land way back.
No, Haynes.
Haynes.
Right, Haynes. I always get those two.
Mm.
Haney's your
Eisenhower guy.
Eisenhower, yeah. I- Regardless, Lions Estates, Truman Drive.
Yeah.
So there were 19 homes built and sold. Lot number 25 is owned by Michael Ravine, and there's a large garage that's built way up in the back. It's like a, contractor's garage, big 3-bay thing, and that's all that's on there. So I looked on the Facebook page for Builders Realty Network and Ravine Builders. The last post was back in August, and it was him advertising his Margaritaville cruise that he does. Apparently he does a Jimmy Buffett kind of thing. So he doesn't seem to be doing anything. And the company website, if you go to the link on his Facebook page to go to the company website, the domain name is for sale. So
Yeah.
I'm not getting a warm fuzzy feeling about this. The other thing that's interesting is the seller of record for all the homes that were sold in there is actually Galaxy Estates LLC.
Oh.
Yeah, so now I'm wondering whether or not Galaxy Estates is who we need to contact? Is it possible? So I guess my question is, on the original application, was it listed as Galaxy Estates, or was it listed as this Builder Realty Network and Ravine Builders? So we need to find that out.
That would be the original covenant.
Right.
I
What's
don't
up?
recall, and your memory better than mine certainly, any mention of Galaxy. in this
No, I don't remember
process.
anything either.
I think Galaxy.
Those are the
was
guys
It
that
was all
did
Ravine Builders.
I
the
think
price
Galaxy
chopper
was
thing
the-
over there in
was
Webster,
the,
among others.
Financial
They've been
backing.
involved in a lot of projects in the area,
Yeah,
but their name hadn't come up at all, I don't recall.
but even like the lot that is owned by Michael Ravine, which obviously must be some relation to
That's a son, I
to
believe.
Tom,
Yep.
that was conveyed from Galaxy to him,
yeah.
so. But we're gonna have to figure out what's going on there. So the 3 questions, well, 2, was it 3? I forgot how many questions I had. So the first question was on the covenant, who's listed on the covenant? Second question is, I'd like to find out from the town accountant, how much money is in that account? And then the third question is, do we wanna wait until spring and then have the engineer go out there, or do you want, cause I don't know if the engineer could see much now. The problem with the snow on the ground is he's not gonna be able to see a lot of the erosion and stuff that we were already having
Right.
concerns about before.
The road is plowed.
I think we need to find out, your first, answers to your first 2 questions right away to find out like how much money's left. Because if it's gonna be a deficit to finish that subdivision, we need to know now rather than later.
I can
Right.
do that tomorrow and email everybody.
Thank you.
Great. All right, so unless there was anything else anybody had on that, that's all I had regarding Truman Drive.
How many houses are left? Was
That's
it-
it, that's it.
19 total?
Yep,
There's
They're-
definitely a
and
house
they're all-
back there.
They're
though.
all sold.
they're all sold.
Cause there's, the last time I drove down there a few weeks ago, there was still construction going on.
I went through today, it didn't look like there was any construction.
Yeah, I
Looked like
went-
They appeared to be finished, I mean, exterior.
I
Okay,
went
so
on
there
the
was one-
MLS and
A
there was
couple of weeks
only-
ago, there was one house that still didn't have siding on it, it was just
Oh.
OSB.
See, I went on the MLS and I looked, and I think like only 2 of the houses in there never went on the MLS. But then when I went to the assessor's database and I looked, even those 2 lots,
Are sold,
they're sold. They have owners of a different name.
okay.
The only lot that I could find in there that has a name even remotely close is, again, 25. And that's that huge parcel, that was that extra.
We had before us some sort of a lot size adjustment, if I remember correctly, that Mr. Ravine presented, and so that he could build whatever his son was looking for, or something that would accommodate his son's requirements. I forget what.
They had one lot where they put the foundation in the wrong place, so they had to adjust the lot lines to
Yeah.
compensate for that.
I
But
don't-
was it the
That wasn't-
sons?
Yeah.
No, this was
No,
coming
no,
down
this
the
was-
No, there
hill.
was another one with regards to the son, I believe. But that's the side. That
From what I
doesn't-
can see, all I see is that huge lot in the back there. It's, I forget how many acres it is, but it's a good sized parcel. All right, so that's,
We do have money from Galaxy Estates.
what's that?
We do have money from Galaxy Estates in our escrows. 1689.
16,000?
Yeah, no, 1,689.
That's not enough to finish a subdivision.
I know that. That's not, I don't even know if it's for that one either.
You're not even gonna get the berms done for that.
You're not gonna
Tree
get
plan for
it.
that.
Maybe that's for something else. David, does it say what, is there a line item? Does it say what it is, or?
No, it's just like they're.
It's just an account that has that in it.
Yeah.
That could be
It should be
anything.
an account for Lions Estates though, I would think.
Yeah, I don't see one.
I don't know if you can see that online, cause it would be an escrow account.
No, I don't see it.
I'll get it tomorrow.
Not even Truman or anything.
Country Club Acres, that's the one I was thinking of.
Okay, all right, Sophie's Way, nothing new there. Inspections and actions associated with site plans. So Legacy Landing Country Club Acres. Anything new there?
Mr. Chairman, I took a ride over there, not too long ago, and I noticed that there are now signs posted at both ends of the road that says, private property, no trespassing.
Okay,
And I thought that that was very interesting from the simple fact that that subdivision was an open space residential subdivision, which got a density bonus for putting in a public walking trail. So how could you have a public walking trail inside of a subdivision, but not let the public enter or exit it?
so is there any way that the walking trail can be accessed from Airport Road without actually going up?
The parking spots are inside the subdivision for
They're
the walking
inside
trail.
something.
Okay, because I couldn't remember whether or not,
Yeah.
I
The
thought
sign-
maybe that the walking trail was on the other side of that house. that's
Well,
there in
the
front.
parking spots are on the, what is it?
Dudley Hill Road
Dudley
side.
Hill Road side, not the Airport Road side. There are two spaces, apparently two spaces, but the sign is before you would get to those spaces. So to Mr. Horn's point, those signs would tell you not to go there, essentially.
Okay.
And there's nothing there to indicate that that is public parking. There
Right.
probably should be a sign indicating that as such,
Yep.
because no one would know that to be the case.
Yeah. And the parking spots are not striped, and one of them is supposed to be handicap parking.
Well, that's not signage, no signage there either as well. That's a good point.
So, do you wanna maybe send him a letter and ask him to remove them, well, relocate those signs? Remind him of the,
Yeah, I don't think, my personal opinion, I don't think you can have those signs present. If you have a public walking trail within your subdivision, you have to let the public in.
The public trail should be somehow signed as well, shouldn't it? So
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
know that it's there?
Yeah,
Yep.
has anybody even seen it? I mean, that was so.
it's there.
It is there?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's there.
Yep.
Have you walked it? I
Yep.
know you're
Oh,
right in
yeah,
the neighborhood.
yeah, many
Okay.
times, many
Is it nice?
times.
Is it?
It's crushed stone.
Okay.
It goes down one side and then back, in back of a number of houses and goes by those retention ponds
Yeah.
that they have on the other side. Yeah, it's a nice little walk. The advantage that it has is anybody who's thinking of walking in the neighborhood, you don't want to walk on Airport Road. That's almost suicidal.
Right.
So walking that is a much better option, certainly. And for a lot of the folks that are living there with some mobility issues that I've observed, that is definitely a preferable option.
Okay.
All
right.
It is
Gravel.
there.
It's
It is
gravel
there.
road, right?
What's that?
Stone
Gravel?
dust. I would
Stone
say
dust?
stone dust, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like asphalt though.
No.
No. I haven't attempted to, in the winter with the snow. I don't think they've done anything with removing snow on it. I can't see
They
how
have to
they would.
remove the snow too, is the question, because it's a public trail.
You have
Is
to-
it-
You have to
Oh,
remove, you
that's
have to
another
remove the
issue.
snow off your sidewalks.
Well, the rail trail is plowed.
Really?
I believe
I
so.
was wondering that. I was gonna go check that out.
What's
Wait,
that?
The one on the west side?
The one down near Railroad.
The one that's paved?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're both paved.
yeah.
Okay.
Which one? Which other one is paved?
The one over by New Boston?
Oh, it is?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I
okay.
don't know how far it goes, but
It
from-
doesn't go
from the
very far.
driveway to where it goes behind Carpenter Road.
Yeah, that doesn't go very far, I don't
And
think.
I don't think it goes far at all.
Is it possible that somebody in that development took it upon themselves to put those signs up. What did you think about the way the signs look, Guy? Did they look like they were professionally done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it
And
looks
they
like.
both match, so
Yeah.
I think it was the developer who probably put them up.
Yeah, and he probably, the developer's not gonna wanna spend money unless he probably got a request from somebody in there saying, hey, we don't want all this traffic coming through here, can't you stop them? That's probably what
Well,
it
there
is.
was supposed to be, I believe, and again, I'm speaking probably out of turn as an abutter, but I believe there was something in the original plan that there was gonna be some way of limiting access to.
There's
the
gonna be a
area.
gate, like
A
halfway
gate of
through.
some
So
Like
sort,
if
in the
you,
middle of it, right?
yeah, if you lived on, if you lived on the Dudley Hill side, you would come in from Dudley Hill and you go back out Dudley Hill. If you lived on the Airport Road side, you come in from Airport Road and go out the Airport Road, and there would be a gate. And the gate was gonna be like, if there was an emergency, the fire truck or the
Right.
ambulance or the police car could go through,
Right.
but nobody else would go through. So they
Right.
basically were gonna stop it from being a cut-through.
Right.
But apparently the developer who purchased it didn't install that gate, so
There's
it's not
no,
there.
you're right, there is no gate.
There's no gate, so I mean, like, I don't know, understand how you can stop people from going through there unless, you know, that gate would be a viable option, but, you know, you can't deny people from going there because there's a public walkway, and they got, I don't remember how many extra houses they got to build because of that, but it was at least one, if not two, or maybe even three houses
Yeah.
that were additionally added to that project because they were making a public walkway.
All right, so do we wanna send a letter to the developer saying that the Dudley Planning Board has made a decision that we want him to remove the no trespassing signs?
It's, public, I think it's private community or something.
It says private property, no trespassing.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, because he can put a sign up saying it's not a public way, but
It doesn't
That's-
say not a public way, I know that.
that's different than saying no trespass.
I thought that would have been more appropriate, to have it as a public, not a public way, but that's
Yeah.
it.
He can say it's not a public way, you know, pass at your own risk
But
or whatever.
The other thing you got is that public trail crosses that roadway in multiple places. So you
True.
can't say there's no trespassing on the road, because people have to cross the road to get from one trail to the next.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Oh dear.
So, does somebody wanna make a motion that we send a letter, informing him that we want the signs removed? And then we'll.
I think we should at least invite him in so that we can discuss the issue.
Thought we invited him in already for something else.
I don't recall. As an abutter, I don't believe I can make the motion.
I'll make a motion that we invite the developer for Legacy Land and Country Club at Acres in to talk about the signage that is currently at the subdivision.
And progress report too, might as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I would amend
Just
that to maybe say something along the lines of non-compliance with
Yeah.
what has been agreed to. what's
Right.
Formally agreed, yeah.
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 Second.
Motion and second.
Was that David seconded it?
Guy made the motion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. SCP Solar, Oxford Avenue, I don't think there's anything new there. Stevens Mill, you guys get a chance to see the update that was given by the group representing the developer for Stevens Linen Mill. They had a Board of Selectmen meeting where they had them come in and basically give an update. I mean, I'm not gonna go into it too deeply, but they basically said, yeah, you know, it's all about interest rates right now, that's what the problem is. And they said that they intend to start working on repairing the roof this spring, I guess.
Couple of months.
Yeah, because the roof's in really bad shape and they wanna try and keep the building from falling into further disrepair. It was interesting to me how many people came forward to that meeting and they were acting as if like it was the first time that they were breaching the subject of doing something with the mill. There was a lot of, whoa, we shouldn't do this, and you know, it's a bad idea, and it's kinda like, well, that horse has left the barn.
Years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, I don't remember those people coming to the public hearings that the Board of Selectmen had, or any of the hearings we had for the site plan, or anything like that. But, yeah, it is what it is.
Aren't
So,
those guys coming up for a reload? Don't they have to get
The town
every
was
3 years?
supposed to put the traffic study information up on the website. I haven't looked specifically for it, but I don't, I
Well, you
didn't
remember
come
I
across it casually.
I showed you where it was, though.
Where was that?
It's on the website. The website, that's another issue. The website is, navigation on the website's not great. But there's a section under the planners section where you can go and you can find all of the
You
studies.
find it there?
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
found
thought they
it.
were gonna have it
I
up
thought-
on the very first, one of the first things it showed. It would be, because it was, I thought, something of a hot button issue.
I sent it to the town planner and I think the assistant town planner, didn't I, Aura? And I thought I CC'd the whole board on it. I thought I kept that all open so you could all see it, but because it came up that night. Somebody was saying that, we'd like to see that report, and somebody said, oh, well, we'll
It
talk
is
to.
difficult to
We'll
navigate.
talk to the
It's
planning
very-
board about
everything's
it,
very hidden.
to make sure they can get it up there, and I'm thinking to myself, the one night I decided not to go to one of these damn meetings, I could have just stood up and said, it's there, you just need to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think Aura and we talked about that, maybe they could just move it to the front page or make it easier.
I can
But-
ask Amanda Gage.
Yeah, people were also asking about some of the environmental reports and everything, and it's like, well, some of those reports, you gotta be a scientist, I think, to understand some of those.
That was the traffic study that you
Yeah,
wanted.
traffic studies.
Yeah. Yeah, if they could just, move it to the homepage maybe, I don't know. Honestly, if you don't, some people, unless you print it in the Webster Times, they're not gonna see it.
And even then.
Yeah, even then, right. All right, so nothing else regarding Stevens Mill. It was solar project at the landfill. David provided us with something that correspondence from the state DEP regarding conditions up at the landfill. Obviously, this time of year, I don't know what they're gonna be able to do, but at some point, they're gonna have to do some more mowing up there so that the DEP can go and take a look at the conditions of erosion and things like that on the landfill cap. David asked that we put that in the file, unless there's any objection to the contrary. I don't see why we can't do that. So we'll put that letter in the file.
So what would that look like, something in the spring?
I would say, I don't, if you go and look at it now, you can't see anything about what they're talking about.
I
So-
see everything. It's all dead right now.
That's what I mean, though. Snow.
Oh, there's snow. I forgot about the snow. I haven't been out there in a little bit.
That's what I'm saying, And then the irony is, when the snow finally clears, all of that stuff will be down, but then it'll come back with a vengeance, so. How do they mow that up there, even?
They're just a regular tractor.
Really?
I've seen them out there mowing it.
Okay.
That was before the fence. So.
I know, like, some towns, they have like a remote control mower that they can go on bankings with, so that you don't have to worry about somebody tipping over or whatever. Anyways, I think that's all we had for the solar project at the landfill. Dudley Housing Authority, we're getting that all straightened out now, right?
That has been straightened out. Later on in the agenda, you're going to vote on paying
Oh,
Quinn
that-
Engineering.
The other voucher.
That will actually bring their balance of their account to zero.
Okay,
So later on in the year, when they finally get to do the seeding of the lawn and whatnot, if you
Right.
want them to go back and do another site visit, then we'll have to address it
Yeah,
then,
we're gonna have to,
that's
'cause
gonna
we're-
cost money.
none of us are gonna go over there and decide whether or not it's completed. And then the problem is, again, weather, we're gonna have to wait, see if, right? So, all right, so that's all we had for Dudley Housing Authority. Planner's plate.
Okay. Well, just,
If you want that money, you're gonna have to earn it.
just to keep everybody abreast of what's going on, every year, all the departments have to submit an annual report for their boards and commissions. So I did email it to you. I just wanted to note that the one that's in your folder, I did include 2 more approved extensions for subdivisions. So that was the only change I made from the one I sent you. But that's the report I've done. I haven't submitted it yet. I wanted you all to see it and tell me what you thought about that.
Looked great. I thought it was
I thought it was
well
really
done.
Okay.
Yes.
I would have said
Again?
fantastic. but-
Another,
I
you.
was amazed that you were able to find the time with all of your multiple responsibilities to get into the weeds on this thing. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
fiscal year 26 budget.
The other one was the inventory, though, the next page. So I did the inventory, that's in your book as well.
Okay.
And pretty much it stayed the same with the exception of the large map printer that was removed from the planning board earlier this year and moved over to the Board of Health Building Department. So that was adjusted on your inventory.
Okay.
And I did submit that to the town clerk already, so she's got that, and tomorrow she'll have your report. The next one was your budget, and my suggestion was simply just to at least submit a level funded budget from last year. So you know you're gonna have your money in there for your planner position
Yep.
and
Yep.
anything else that's going on, but at least submit that.
Want to make a motion that we have our clerk submit?
Before we make the motion, just a quick question. We had a conversation earlier about a town planner.
Mhm.
So we're not gonna be able to find a town planner part-time, and there's all kinds of issues, obviously. So if we vote or submit the budget as is, we're limiting ourselves to a part-time town planner, right?
No, as is for what you submitted last year, so it would be the original,
Level
like the
funded.
level funded. So $46,000, 46,200 was the planner's salary last year, and I would just say submit that same
Right,
amount.
but we had a part-time planner last year. That's
Right.
a part-time
Right.
salary.
It
Right.
is.
That would be limiting ourselves. Is that
But
all we want?
It is all we want, because the idea was that if we're sharing it with Spencer, which is what the thing we agreed to was gonna be, we share it with Spencer, they pick up the other half. So they get a full-time salary, we pay half, Spencer pays half. If we're gonna go it alone,
Then we need a
Then you would need to
significant increase.
adjust your request.
and we
That's my
wanted a
question. That's my
full-time
question.
planner, we
That's
would
my
have to,
question.
yeah.
If we put in for a full-time planner, they're gonna go through the roof.
Who?
Price.
I'm just asking if we need it or not. I'm not saying that we need it. I'm not
I
saying.
don't think we need a
I'm just asking
full-time
the
planner, I
question.
think we need a part-time.
Because we're locking ourselves in for the next year.
I would agree with Guy, I don't think we need a full-time planner.
Okay.
Was Don Johnson full?
I don't think so. I think he was
He was
part-time
part-time
too,
too?
wasn't he?
Yeah, they
I
were.
don't think we need a full-time.
Yeah,
I
part-time.
think Nancy Runkle was full-time.
Yeah, she was the last full-time.
Like 80s? 90s?
So, do we want to, somebody want to make a motion that we instruct our clerk to request that they level fund the planning board's budget for FY '26?
Yeah, I was gonna say, the only other difference is after I did the budget, after I did the agenda and put everything in your folder, you did get a notice from Central Mass Regional Planning Commission with the assessment for this year's CMRPC assessment, which is $3,862.40. So I had, I just kind of guessed when I was first writing this, I kind of upped it a little bit. It's actually going to be less than that. I put requested budget $4,018.23, but it's actually going to be $3,862.40. It's a difference of like $155.83.
Just leave it the way you have it, don't worry.
Okay.
I mean, if we get an extra $100 in the budget, we don't spend that at the end of the year, it's gonna go right back to the town anyway.
This is your party. I don't afford Chris holiday party.
All right, I would make a motion that we approve the budget as presented.
Okay.
We got a motion? We have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And the next thing I did was there was a request from the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. They wanted us to submit our subsidized housing inventory, and I did put it in your folders. I did the research and I contacted Andrew Lowe, and there was no other subsidized housing. The only exception would be that if Stevens Linen Mill ever gets off the ground and puts their apartments in, perhaps we'll have an addition there, but right now there was no changes. So that report has,
Would that be considered subsidized housing?
I am so glad you said that, because that just reminded me of something I forgot to bring up. So go ahead and finish that, and then I gotta jump.
no, I just wanted to let you know that that was requested and it's been submitted, so.
It's still 108 units and it hasn't changed in years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so, just wanted to jump back to the Stevens Lennon Mill, that discussion, that update that they had. I was watching the meeting, and I'm not 100% sure whether or not this developer now intends to put in the 10% affordable housing that we talked about. And the reason why I'm not sure of that, David, you saw the meeting, right? So there was an interesting exchange when they were talking about what type of units were gonna be in there. And Selectman Steve Sullivan, at one point, he kinda said something about, they were talking about that they wanna do, market value, fair market value housing. And Steve Sullivan made a comment about, except for those units, he said something about the unit, he mentioned the units, the affordable housing, and you remember the stipulation about, it would be great if the Dudley residents had first shot at those.
Something for preference, yeah.
He kind of mentioned that, but he kind of said it kind of quietly and kind of trailed off, and they seemed to kind of ignore that. And I was really not happy with the answer they gave. I don't think they made it clear that they were acknowledging what he said, because then later in the discussion, he again mentioned fair market value housing.
Because they're all fair market value except for those low-income ones.
I understand that, David, but to me, the way that he said it, it almost sounded like, I think he even made reference to something about the funding, that they weren't gonna be going for whatever additional funding they were gonna get by making the 10% of that.
But that was in the original agreement. I mean,
That was
like,
part of the approval, yeah.
Part of
He's
the
got no choice.
town
He's got no
vote.
choice.
I understand that, I'm just saying, you guys, take a couple minutes,
I
a
didn't
day,
hear
watch that.
Okay.
I didn't get that out of
Maybe
that
I'm
at all.
crazy.
Okay.
the state's not gonna allow it.
The town's not gonna allow it, because it's part of our town meeting vote too, that, and John Breyer made that exception that the Dudley residents get the first,
pick. Yeah.
whatever it is.
First preference.
First preference, yeah.
Okay.
'Cause that's part of our law, I guess. now.
The, I just, for recollection's sake, this Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, this was the granting authority when we applied for a master funding of the master plan. And I'm just looking at what I got from apparently their information. Dudley identified as 108 subsidized housing units, or 2.35. I've got to think that they have this information for a reason. Their reason for being is to promote as much housing as they can, and then affordable housing, however you want to categorize that. And I suspect that in terms of future grant applications, if coming before this body specifically, 2.35 is not going to sell well. Charlton's worse, they're 1.84. but,
Right.
Yeah, they want a minimum of 10%.
Oh, these, believe me, I mean, just listening to that debrief that I went through with these two young ladies in particular, they have an objective, and it's,
I wonder
I think, much more aggressive than
I wonder if
many
there's
of
any
the towns
communities in the
listed.
entire state that actually meet that threshold.
there are.
Are there?
Oh, yeah.
But are they cities?
Cities that-
Yeah.
Chelsea,
Alston, Brighton, all these towns, they have it.
Okay.
Brookline, Brockton, Bridgewater. I just got the list here. Cohasset is 9.45, so they're close. Dedham, let's see, what else is close?
That's all right, we got enough of them.
All right.
But this
Right.
new agency, or new office, created in 2023, is not without an agenda.
Okay. Moving right along, next thing we had on the planner's plate was the CMRPC Annual Meetings and Awards Dinner is on June 12th, 2025.
Yep.
I guess that's just an informational thing, if anybody wants to.
It's at Salem Croft Inn. If you had interest in that, I'm sure you'll be well fed.
Okay. All right, comments from the planning board?
I just had a couple more things.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Sure.
go ahead.
That's all right, they're not on the agenda. I just wanted to let you know that the planner had been, it was requested of
What
the
planner?
planner, when we had a planner, that we submitted hazard mitigation plan update.
Okay.
And because it wasn't done
Yeah.
during the time the interim was here, I spoke with Olivia this morning because I did see an opportunity for a grant come in, but she informed me that the assistant town administrator and the town administrator have contacted somebody. They're working with somebody to update that for us, so
Oh,
we don't
okay.
have to worry about that. And they're
Good.
doing that in conjunction with Chief Kochanowski, who is the emergency management person. So that's being taken care of. And I just wanted to bring everybody's attention to the nomination papers. And for our board, David Durgan and Dan Edmonston are up for their reelection if they're interested. And nomination papers are going to be available in the town clerk's office starting March 3rd.
Wow, time flies.
March 3rd, that seems early.
Yeah, usually it's like middle of March.
And that's all I got.
That's all you got.
That's all I got.
Okay. All right, comments from the planning board?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, greatest hits. We had an order of conditions. I thought that we'd have brought them in and making an appearance back in January. Looks like we're.
So I am
we
going
missed that date
to
again.
defer to Mr. Durgan because he sent me an email telling me that as the clerk of the planning board, he was going to reach out to them
I
and,
said I could reach out to them, because you were ignoring my emails, Stephen. So.
yeah, I don't get that. I don't know why you think that I ignore your emails.
The emails are not answered.
And actually, Mr. Burlingame, same thing. You write emails, you say he's ignoring you too.
And I can show you the ones that he's ignored, sir.
Gentlemen, if we could maybe move forward on that, if Mr. Durgan would be kind enough to maybe reach out to the greatest hits folks and invite them
So
in
you're
for that
delegating
annual
Mr. Durgan
update.
to do that?
I don't know, it sounded like Mr. Durgan was
Sounds like a
in
chairman
position
job,
to do
but
that.
he doesn't want to, the clerk could do it.
Well, I mean, that's just it. I mean,
All right.
if you want me to be the chair and you want me to do it, I'll do it. But at the same token, you know, you can't have it both ways. You can't have me as the figurehead of the board so that I'm the one who takes all the heat when things
I
go
will
south.
send them the letter, okay? If there's too much pressure, just send them a letter, I'll do that for
I
you.
see you're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say it was too much pressure.
I'm trying to take words out of your mouth, sir.
All right. Can we move past that? One other question I had was at Tobin Farms. It's not part of our standard business any longer, but I know the betterment process was approved.
Well, I just wanted to clarify.
Yep.
So I will be reaching out to, we contact counsel for Greatest Hits? Is that usually who we contact? Who do we have there?
Wasn't his attorney?
Yeah, that's who came in last time,
Last year
right?
it was him.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
The attorney couldn't make
Right,
it last year.
The first time he came in with the attorney, the second time he came in by
By
himself.
himself.
All right, so we have, give me his contact information.
Okay.
As far as I know, the state of Massachusetts has let those guys off the hook. They don't have to pay it anymore.
For the host community agreement, yeah.
That's
But
true.
There's an excise tax that they still pay. They're supposed to come in, they're not coming in to give us updates on that, they're coming in to give us updates on their business. That's part of,
It's
part of, what
Right.
is it?
It's
Right, we
separate.
don't deal with that. The money thing, that's the selectmen. That's,
I am curious about how much excise tax though that they provided to the town.
but when they come in here, we're not asking them about that. That's not what, like you said, they're not coming in here for that.
Yeah, they're coming in for updates. Their
Right.
Annual updates, I think is what it is in the special permit process. where
State of
Right.
the business and where they see this going. And
Probably not gonna have much to say, honestly, but well, they're supposed to do it. So that's the point I think you were making, right, David? That
Yeah.
it's in the agreement, let's hold them to it.
Exactly.
So,
So I'll
Yeah.
get you the contact information.
give me contact
so you can
information.
reach
I'll tell them to
out
come in and give us just an update on their business.
to come to the next meeting of
Yeah.
March 12th. Okay.
Remind them that is part of their obligation.
Okay.
I think it was March of last year when they finally did make an appearance.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the only, did anybody else have any comments from,
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I did, and we walked away from that a bit, but I was asking about Tobin Farms in terms of the number that those folks, or the cost of the betterment. Have we gotten any closer to that number? I understand it's an engineering function, but I
The
think,
problem is, it's been so long that they're probably gonna need new numbers from and the engineers.
did we have a number?
We did, we had a number of, that's how it went to vote.
All right.
There was a number and it was voted on, but now the bids never went out, it never went out for bid, so we don't know what anybody's willing to do it for.
Well, they won't be doing it for less, that much we do know.
That's pretty much
So
a
where did the
sure.
process stop? Who would have put that out to bid? The Board of Selectmen?
No, it was the former highway superintendent that would have done it, but
Yeah,
he's now gone.
He's no longer here.
He's no longer here.
So that's where the process has stopped. So
Yeah.
for those people who have agreed to this, and I assume would like to have this done, given the fact that certainly the investment that they've made in their property is not being enhanced as these roads and this infrastructure deteriorates, I'd like to get this thing over with and done before the cost goes completely off the charts.
And
How do we get that thing moving again?
But it's not up to us, that's up to the Board of Selectmen, and I think the issue is that some of the people have already paid their $10,000 or whatever it was supposed to be.
And
I
they haven't
had-
gotten anything.
I had heard that also,
Yeah,
that they had decided to take the lump sum.
yeah.
So who is it, whose responsibility, or who would be the person or the group, if you will, to get the selectmen to act on this? I mean, this thing doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
They need
If the
to-
selectmen are not moving it forward, who provides the grease to get the wheels turning?
They would need to go, I think the Board of Selectmen would need to instruct the highway superintendent, who works for them as the road, highway commissioners,
Okay,
to go forward and get quotes on this as soon as possible.
I'm surprised nobody from that development hasn't come forward and said, how come nothing's happening?
well, I suspect that at some point they will. And then it's going to be, more of an embarrassment then than it will be today or tomorrow, if you will. And it's not gonna get better by itself, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was supposed, it worked very well for Partridge Hill,
It did.
and Partridge Hill is done. but-
So, I guess what I understand of you, what you're saying is the fact that we had an interim highway superintendent, and then finally we have
Yeah.
invested him with full responsibilities, but somewhere along the way, maybe that
The
wasn't
ball
picked
got
up.
dropped, yeah.
All right, so perhaps, I don't know.
We should have never borrowed the money without having the estimate first. That's where we dropped the ball, is the selectmen asking Richard the collector to borrow the money.
Well, I think people thought that this was going to, the process was going to go forward, but apparently, and all indications are that it hasn't. So, and we've taken it off of our agenda, so
I
any
think now there's gonna
visibility it
be-
might have in this building is probably, buried.
Probably have to go through DEP filings and everything all over again because,
Oh, Jesus.
well, a big part of the problem is the.
Detention basins.
The detention
Yeah.
basins. Yeah, so, speaking of the betterments there, you remember Misty Meadows?
Yes,
You remember they brought it to town meeting and failed?
yes.
Can't they bring that back after, what is it,
Sure,
2 years?
No, they can bring it back anytime.
Anytime.
Oh, yeah, that's right, it's
We
not,
voted for it.
it's not.
It failed on its own merit, but we recommended it, so we could recommend it again.
And so the interesting thing about that is that the lot there on Misty Meadows that Mr. Bateman owned actually was sold now. So I think somebody might be planning on maybe putting a house up on that lot. So there's gonna be another resident there. Might be worth, I don't even know if we still have the contact information for, remember the guy who came to the town meeting who,
Donahue?
was that it? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody might, maybe we could reach out to him and just remind him that he could bring it back again.
He didn't want it.
No, he wanted it.
No, he didn't want it. Him and his wife did not want it. Trust me, they texted me or his wife was texting me. He did not want it.
That must not be the guy then, because the
Yeah,
guy
the only
that,
guy that was there that talked to us, or talked to Richard during the
There was
meeting.
somebody there who wanted it.
there was somebody there who wanted it and he was disappointed because it didn't pass.
The only guy that I know that talked about it was that guy.
There's only 3 houses on the street, right? I mean, it can't be too many people.
And they all came to the public hearing.
Yeah, and
Well, their minds may have changed, who knows?
the town voted it down though.
I mean, one of the big issues, as I recall, they were dealing with potholes, which they
I'm sure they're still doing
very,
it.
yeah, probably better this year than they were last year.
Unless somebody
They're
goes
not
out.
walking back there a lot.
So
but
they're
They're not gonna get any better, that's for sure.
Well, that's the funny thing too, is that because of the fact that it goes to town meeting, you get that, 70 some odd people that show up from the entire town that make the decision on that entire neighborhood. And to Misty Meadow, to your point, with 3 houses there, it's like, oh, it's not easy, not hard for them to be outnumbered by a bunch of people that just decide.
There's only like 3 houses on the part of the street that's affected, but it would be every house that's in that subdivision, and if somebody bought a piece of land and builds a new house in there, they're gonna be responsible for a portion of the street also.
Right, and those are the people that should show up and vote,
Mhm.
but unfortunately, they don't. So,
Can we push this over the finish line?
Yeah, so I was waiting for everybody else to get their comments out of the way, so then I could just give you an update on what happened with the sewer water. So I sent a letter to sewer.
It was, actually, you
Oh,
kind
the hell
of skipped
with
it.
it.
I put it under the master plan because that's what it was really referencing.
So I missed it completely?
Yeah, you, because it said about the volunteer board, but I put it under master plan because you were updating the board on the letter that you sent to the Water and Sewer Commission regarding the grant, procuring the grant, and they never responded as far as I know. I didn't, did you get a response to that?
So, it was on the agenda and I went to the Water Sewer Commission's meeting. They talked about the email that I sent.
Okay.
And basically, Richard showed up and we pushed them on exactly what's going on with the sewer moratorium and explained to them the problem with this is costing us grant money.
Mm-hmm.
And to sum it up, because I know Dan wants to get the hell out of here, they really can't give us an answer on when this is gonna be lifted. It seems like it's just a constant,
Indefinite.
we're gonna keep working on the problem, we're gonna keep trying to find the issue with water infiltration, but now they've even added on other areas that now they're gonna camera. So this could go on indefinitely.
Mhm.
And I even made mention to the fact that, you know, we talk about that we wanna solve the problem, but the reality is, there's a lot of people that would be perfectly happy with that moratorium never being lifted.
The last one, if I remember right, was probably close to 10 years.
10 years?
Right.
Yeah.
What, it lasted 10 years, or it was 10 years ago?
No,
Lasted 10
it lasted
years.
for about 10 years.
So with all the push that the state is doing at the state level to try and get communities to be more friendly towards development, so we could try and fix the housing problem, Dudley actually has a pretty viable reason, or viable excuse, I should say, to stop development, which is, we have a moratorium that, the guy's point, we could be 10 years
Mhm.
before. So, that's all I got.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I know that Richard brought it up last time about the accessory, what was it, accessory unit dwellings?
Right.
ADUs?
Yeah, that
Mhm.
have been approved. I don't know if anybody else has seen it, but now, apparently that you can, on Facebook Marketplace, you can buy accessory dwelling units right from these modular home manufacturers. They'll bring them to your house and set them up, and they're starting between $90,000 and $125,000 delivered.
Kidding.
Turnkey. Yeah. 800
what's stopping
800 square
someone?
foot, 2-bedroom apartments in your backyard.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's a company out in California that's marketing these houses. They're giant Quonset huts,
Mhm.
steel, to replace houses that have been destroyed by fire. Basically, you get a fireproof, well, they don't want to call it fireproof, but it's very fire retardant.
Resistant.
Permanent replacement?
Yeah. And actually, they don't look that bad.
Well, FEMA used to had trailers, I don't know if they still do, that they used to bring in, I would imagine.
I think some of them were made out of those shipping containers.
It might well have been, but I mean,
Outhouses.
tremendous need for housing, certainly out in California, even more so than our local need here.
Really starts with a big problem.
Yeah.
Flat houses.
Poor Woody Harrelson.
Next,
Okay,
Next meeting.
anything, Dave?
yeah.
Well, comments from the audience?
Yeah, all right, comments from the audience. Okay, approve and set the next meeting date, March 12th, 2025. We're all good with that, right? Okay, all right. Approval of consultant vouchers and payment of bills. You've got something for Quinn Engineering.
Mhm.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we vote to have Aura pay the invoice to Quinn Engineering in a total of $589.50.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. So Guy made the motion, Richard seconded. You're good to go. Sign the check,
Okay.
the voucher.
Yeah.
Other town notices, we don't have anything, right?
No,
Other correspondence? Nothing, right?
no.
Okay, great. Make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Good night.